Welcome to another episode of the Quip and Convo segment. Today I have the pleasure of hosting Dr. Tari, who's been here before. Yes. Well, you'll see her bio again after this. See you in the Quip Corner. Welcome back to the Quip and Convo segment of the Quip Corner with Dr. Tari.
Thank you very much. Auntie Ada, nice being here again.
Yes, I enjoyed your last visit, so what's wrong with doing something good twice?
Good, not a problem at all.
So this time we're going to still be talking about a quip from the same book, but this time it is Quip. I put a bookmark there, so I'm not. Quip 62.
Okay.
Quip 62, which says, if you don't manage your time, others will manage it for you. No one can value your time more than you.
So true.
Okay.
So true. If you don't manage your time, others will manage it for you. No one can value your time more than you. I mean, everybody has 24 hours in a day. Nobody has less, nobody has more. But sometimes you wonder how people are able to manage their 24 hours. And then for you, it looks like 24 hours are not enough. And it just all boils down to time management, honestly. We are, especially if you're in a profession, or a career, and are surrounded by high achievers, it's almost like you're in a rat race all the time. You want to achieve this, you've set this goal, you want to get to the goal, you want to surpass it, it takes a lot of time. But just like we talked about the last one, you need to really pace yourself. And time management is one way of pacing yourself. So yes, I have 24 hours. Yes, I'm supposed to be at work for maybe 9 hours out of the 24 in the day. In that 9 hours, how do I ensure that every goal I have set, I actually meet? Everything I'm supposed to do for that day, I actually meet. And that's time management, because truth be told, you have your wildly important goals, maybe things you want to do each day. But then again, you also have what is called whirlwinds, things that just come at you from nowhere that you didn't plan for. How do you balance the two so that you can actually get the goal set, but you're not really neglecting the whirlwinds at the same time? So that's where time management comes in. Just adequately, deliberately planning your time each day to ensure that you achieve all you set out to achieve without really dropping anything. That's just what, for me, time management is.
Okay. So I like, how you talked about those goals you have, and then you have those whirlwinds, or, some people talk about curveballs, those unexpected things. So it's almost like, start off each day expecting the unexpected.
Yeah.
But how do you then, shall I say, take those in your stride? Because you talked about pacing yourself. How do you take those in your stride so that you're still in control versus letting others manage your time?
So I giggle because I remember a conversation I had with a senior colleague sometime. I asked her a very funny question. I asked her, is it possible to have ADHD in adulthood, as in attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adulthood? Because it just seems like you're doing this thing at this moment. Before you know it, something else has come. You have forgotten what you were doing completely, and you are focused on that one, and you keep going around in circles like that. And at the end of the day, you actually sit back and ask yourself, come on, what did I really achieve today? What did I achieve? I mean, I've spent 12 hours at work, but I can't even place a finger on one thing that I said, I was going to achieve. And she laughed and said, it's all about time management. There's no ADHD anything. Okay, yes, ADHD does exist, but I mean, in your own case, come on, it's not ADHD. You just haven't learned
Stop looking for excuses.
You just haven't learned how to focus on what you have at hand. So what I started doing was, at the start of each day, I have a to-do list. That really has helped me a lot. A to-do list. Okay, so my to-do list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things are what is set out for today. In fact, you can actually have a to-do weekly list. So what you need to achieve for that week, you already set it out, and then daily You now have three
Break
or
it
four
down.
chunks from that list, exactly, break it down for what you want to achieve. So I started doing that. And I had the habit of, and with gadgets, it's easy. With your phone calendar or the notebook on your phone, it's easy. You can actually apportion time to it.
Yeah.
You can actually tick it off when it's done. The
Yeah.
phone also reminds you when it's time for your next task and things like that. So I've
Nice.
leveraged on technology to do that. And then, of course, the to-do list as well. Now, apart from having a to-do list, there might be 5 things on your list, but there are maybe 2 that are top priority.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned to give those 2, utmost attention first before even start thinking about the number 3, 4, and 5. So those 2, I put in a lot of time and effort into achieving those 2 because I will feel good if those 2 were achieved. If I didn't achieve the other 3 in the day, at least I've achieved those 2, then that's all good for me. So that's what it is. Putting prioritizing and then ensuring that you actually meet up the goals you have set. That's what it is for me.
The second part of the quip talks about if you don't manage your time, other people will manage it for you.
Definitely.
What should you
Definitely.
do if it feels like people are managing your time for you? How do you regain control? Well, first of all, how do you identify that other people are managing your time? And if you notice, how do you regain control?
Okay, so how to recognize that other people are managing your time? First of all, you will feel really stressed. You will feel stressed. And then if you sit back down and ask yourself honest questions, what exactly is making me stressed at this time? And then you realize that these are not things that I brought on myself. These are things that other people have dumped on me. Like my pastor will say, you cannot come and dump your prayer point on me and go home and sleep. Then me, I'll be
Yes.
up praying. No. Then me, I'll be up praying. So these are not things that I've brought on myself. These are other people's activities, other people's goals that I'm trying to achieve, for their own betterment and to my own detriment. It can't work like that. So I have learned to say no politely.
Yes.
And I think it was something you wrote or so on Facebook, and I said, absolutely, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
No, N-O is a complete sentence. You learn how to say no. I'm sorry. Oh, I would have loved to, but I am unable to accommodate that this weekend, unfortunately. Simple and short. And you don't need to explain yourself when you say no.
Yeah.
Which is something I've also had to learn, because sometimes I say no and I feel bad and say, see, I'm saying no because of 1, 2, 3. No, ma. No, sir. It's not going to work for me this weekend, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I have learned how to say no. Because if you continue on the path you're going, just taking on everything thrown at you, very soon you come to the point of burnout. And believe you, nobody wants to get there.
Yeah.
To the point where you are not interested in anything, you're not looking forward to doing anything. The things that were of interest to you now begin to look like
burden.
Burden. You don't want to get to that point, because coming out of burnout is a whole different conversation. So in order to avoid getting to that place in the first place, you really need to learn to say no to certain things, especially when they're not things that actually benefit you. Sorry, it may sound selfish, but when they're not things that actually benefit you or your family or the people who depend on you directly, you need to just shed that extra weight.
Yeah. As you said it, I just remembered, I think it was from my first book, what's your comment? Yeah, it's this quip.
No.
50, yes. Okay. It's this quip 54 in the first book that says, learning to say no without feeling guilty gives you the opportunity to say yes to other things with pleasure, not pressure.
With pleasure and not pressure. Exactly. So that note, for me, I've had to learn no, because I've gotten to points where you are struggling like a headless chicken. You're moving around trying to meet up, just meet up things that you have nobody sent you. You're the one that says, and then now you're not feeling overwhelmed, feeling tired, and that's not a good place to be at. So I'd rather not get there than get there and start struggling to get out of it.
Yeah. Because then you become really unpleasant to be around.
Honestly. And then you just know that you're not yourself. Like, something is off. This is not me usually. I mean, you're snapping at everybody, and it's just because you're tired, and the body is just telling you, you need to actually slow down, take a rest.
Yeah. Thank you. As usual, really enjoy these conversations and the practicality to it, because sometimes people make some of these things sound like they're rocket science.
It's
but
not rocket science. So
yeah,
because I say the physical, even your mental health, all aspects of health are connected: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. So it's not even just running around and getting tired physically. That could also affect your spiritual well-being. It could
yes,
affect your emotions, it could affect your mental health. So everything is intertwined. So
yeah,
you don't look out for one and then ignore the other, right? So physical rest will rejuvenate your mind.
yeah,
Yes, and then it will put you in a better mood. And so your
mhm,
emotions are in check.
yeah, yeah,
And then you're better able to pray and actually hear what God is telling you. You're not struggling with the word because you're
yeah,
already overwhelmed with the things that the world has thrown at you. So
mm-hmm,
they're all
mm-hmm,
intertwined, they're all connected. So if you're taking care of one, it actually has an effect on the others.
yeah,
So that's what I tell people. These things are not they're not what you bargain with. They're things that should be a part of your life. It's
mm,
very important, honestly.
thank you.
Hmm.
Thanks again for being my guest.
Thank you for having me, Auntie Ada. It was great being here and talking.
Yes, and I'd love to have you again. Maybe we can do it in the new year so that, it's getting to a busy time of year. But,
Sure,
let's do this again, please.
sure. I'll be glad to be back. I'll be glad to
Thank
be back.
you.
Thank you so much for having me, for thinking of me and having me come. Thank
Yes, well,
you.
you're always in my mind, so yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks.
All right, Cynthia.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, it was a delight listening to Dr. Tari, sharing those examples and, reminding us that we can say no without feeling guilty. No is a complete sentence. And we need to be careful that you're not running around doing things for other people's betterment to your detriment. Remember, like the quip said, you need to be alive and well to accomplish all those things. I look forward to reading your comments and your questions and maybe even suggestions. If you'd like to be a guest in the Quip and Convo segments, you'll find my details somewhere if you look hard enough. Send me an email or private message, and who knows, you may be one of my guests someday. Thanks again for joining me in the Quip today. You take care. God bless you. Bye now.